A little bit of a cold morning this morning, but it is supposed to warm up to 71 degrees. Finally we're getting out of the 40s. We're in Pueblo, Colorado still, and today's adventure, I am still wearing a sweatshirt. I even have my ski coat. I've got my gloves. I've got my hydro pack full of water. I've got hot hands, because today, even though it's going to be 71 degrees down here, today's adventure, that's today's adventure. Right there. 14,000 feet to the top of the summit, Pikes Peak. And that's where we're heading. All right, Danette. We're cruising, getting closer to our starting point for Pikes Peak. And I know what people are thinking. They're thinking, like, you guys are nuts. Why would you want to go 14,000 feet above sea level? I mean, there's 40% less oxygen up there than where you're at right now.
Right, please don't remind me of that.
And, you know, are you physically fit enough to do it?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah, I think we're good. I really do. I'm confident that we're going to be able to do this without any problem. And the reason being is because up at the peak, there is a little center where they serve donuts. This is no joke. They serve donuts, and they're supposedly the best. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if you need any motivation whatsoever to go up 14,000 feet, I mean, a donut to me is going to do it.
Definitely. Donuts motivate me every time.
Yep.
We have finally arrived. We're at the base of Pikes Peak in this neat little town of Manitou Springs. Before we begin the climb, and since it's a little early, we decided to walk around this amazing mountain town. We felt that we should top off our bellies with a hot cup of coffee for Danette and a hot cup of cocoa for me. Lucky us, there was a coffee shop close by. We're super stoked to warm up, and when we got close to the door, closed for repairs. But thank goodness for Google. Danette found another coffee shop a short walk away. The coffee gods are looking down upon us. And I must say, we were glad they did. As soon as we walked into the door, we were greeted by a cute little dog named Jack. We knew at that moment we came to the right place. Danette got her coffee with a beautiful design on top. She said it was delicious. And my hot chocolate was rich and super yummy. We looked over the menu, unsure if we wanted anything to eat, and boom! There it was. The first we've ever seen an inside-out grilled cheese. Curious? Yes. So were we. American cheese on the inside, and are you sitting down? Cheddar cheese, melted on the outside on sourdough bread. It was a cheese lover's dream come true. Our server Ray turns out to be the owner of Good Karma. We spoke with him about our adventures and asked him if we could mention his establishment on our YouTube channel. He said yes, please, but don't forget the other shops and restaurants in Manitou Springs. He was very adamant that all shared in the limelight. He continued to tell us about Manitou Springs, continuously plugging many different businesses throughout the conversation. Who does this anymore? With the effects of COVID, small business owners are having a hard time keeping food and products in stock to maintain customer demand. And we would expect small business owners to keep the attention on themselves so they can prosper or at least keep their heads above water during these challenging times. But not Ray. He was a perfect spokesman, no, ambassador for the area and local businesses. So Ray, thank you for the wonderful time, the history lessons, as well as the best places to eat and to shop in Manitou Springs. On a side note, we did come back the next day to try more of Good Karma's delicious food, but sadly, he was closed for the day. We did take his advice for a great burger and ate at the Border Burger Bar. It was just as amazing as Ray described, and we tried the mozzarella sticks, again, per Ray, and they were in fact amazing. I'm looking forward to the day we return to Colorado because Good Karma is another location, just like Reno's in Trinidad, that we will not hesitate to patron. Have you ever been to Good Karma in Manitou Springs? Please share your experience in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, now's a better time than any to click on that subscribe button. Click on that bell icon so you'll know when we upload new content. And most of all, if you like our video, give it a thumbs up. Manitou Springs was founded in 1872 by General William Jackson Palmer and Dr. William Abraham Bell. They intended the town with its natural mineral springs to be a scenic health resort. Manitou Springs began as a tourist town and has continued as such throughout today. Once a place of healing to the Ute Indians, visitors still today drink from the healing waters, and many of the town's mineral springs still function, and the water's free. Speaking of water, my hydro pack is topped off, our can of oxygen is in the ready, and it's time to head up the mountain. What? Did you seriously think we were gonna hike that? I mean, we're in pretty good shape, but hello, our motivation is to get to the summit for donuts. Not exactly a healthy meal for hikers.
Now you might have noticed we actually have a single track that goes from the bottom to the top, but we'll actually have trains moving up and down it at the same time. As a matter of fact, there's a train heading for us right now. But don't you worry, we pass each other at what is called a siding, and we control these sidings with what is called a switch. Now back in the olden days of 2017, it was your conductor's job to get out of the train and throw these switches manually. Now in the 21st century, we have fully automated radio-controlled switches that can be flipped with just a push of a button by your engineer Jeff, making things so much easier for us. I'll let you know a little later how you can help us hit those switches on time. It involves leaving the summit when I say we do.
The Broadmoor, Manitou, and Pikes Peak Cog Railway is a cog railway that climbs Pikes Peak in Colorado, one of the most iconic mountains in the United States. Construction was started in 1889 with the first train to reach the summit on June 30th of 1891. The average grade to the summit on the line is 12%, but tops out at 25%. At that point, the front of the train is 4 stories above the back of the train. Normal trains cannot retain traction over 10%. So the railway uses a cog and rack system to help push the trains up the mountain and control the speed of descent. The entire line was constructed by Italian laborers using only pickaxes assisted by donkeys. Originally powered by steam locomotives, the line later switched to diesel-powered locomotives and self-propelled cars. The railway closed on October 29th of 2017 for some repairs and upgrades. As maintenance crews got into it, soon they realized that a complete overhaul of the 128-year-old rail line was needed. On May 20th of 2021, and $100 million later, with 100% of the track replaced and 3 new trains, the Pikes Peak Railway resumed operations. As we approached the summit, we were informed that we would have to wait just below the top of the mountain due to the maintenance crews completing snow removal from the last bit of the line. There was a large amount of snowfall last week on Pikes Peak, and despite being the second train of the day to head up the mountain, our train was going to be the first train to summit Pikes Peak since the snowstorm. Danette and I were super stoked that we were going to summit. All the previous trains before us and after the snowstorm would have to go up the mountain as far as they could before heading back down the mountain. We were happy to get out and walk around the summit, but sadly, we were informed that the employees that run the visitor center were also on our train, and that meant no donuts. Okay, for those that don't believe we actually made it, there's the original Summit House. 1873 is what that other lady said. Wow, 1873.
There's Donetskimo.
What was that?
I'm gonna go into the Pikes Peak Summit Visitor Center.
There he is.
Found him.
I gotta put my coat back on.
We are heading right now to the actual peak. That's beautiful. Look at that. Somewhere down there is Denver.
I'm gonna walk really fast now.
Woo! Don't turn your head fast. There it is. Official summit.
Woo.
Let's get a picture or video of that. Yay! Tell me that's not amazing.
This is Nito Mosquito.
We did it.
We made it.
14,100 and change.
Yep. It's true.
Well, our 45 minutes at the summit is over. It's time to head back down the mountain on the Cog Railway. We have to sit in the same seats for the return trip, so if you'd like to see it, just play this episode in reverse. With over 5 hours of footage edited down for your ease of viewing, I hope we inspired you today to make the trek out to Manitou Springs, and whether by trail or rail, you summit Pikes Peak. Maybe we'll join you after all. We'll still have to return so we can get some 14,115 foot donuts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon to share our adventures with you.